Hi, this is Mike Jasper, Executive Vice President at Velocity Procurement. Velocity is a procurement advisory firm helping our clients to mature their people, process, and technology around their source to pay journey. I'm joined today by Olav Maas, Vice President of Product Management at Basware. Basware is regarded as the leading provider for accounts payable automation by firms such as Gartner and Forrester. Today, we'll be talking about how we can use artificial intelligence or AI to help automate our coding of non-PO invoices. Olav, it's good to be here with you again today.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Now, Olav, I've seen the non-PO invoice process become one of the most cumbersome areas within accounts payable. Between coding invoices, getting them routed for approval, it's a reason why people are pushing so hard on a no PO, no pay process. But as you and I know, there's certain invoices that don't bring themselves to that very well. They're hard to put PO back. So a lot of times it's after the fact POs, which are very little value add. And a lot of that comes down to the coding. We need to get proper coding on an invoice, and a PO is a great way to do it, but it doesn't happen every single time. It's not the best use case in every single invoice scenario. What's Basware doing to help automate that process of getting the proper coding on an invoice if there's no PO to go to?
Yeah, you're spot on, right? Coding is the most complicated part of processing an invoice, one way or another. And typically, when I have a discussion with a customer and I ask into the room that, do you know your own cost center? Then 90% doesn't know that even. And that is such a basic element. So clearly, that's a pain point, and this is where we started long time ago introducing different kind of coding templates, right? Can we get some regularity in the coding? And that works to a certain level fine, but there are so many exceptions and there's so much overhead, so that's not a long-term solution. And
Yep.
this is where we are starting with the AI, what you could teach. And we came up with a service which we are calling the smart coding, who is actually utilizing all of your invoices that you are processing and come up with these kind of predictions. And the beauty out of that one is that it's not a one-time fits all. So it's not utilizing the whole string of an individual invoice. It is able to come up with predictions for individual coding dimensions that are best suitable for that specific invoice and combine those. And in that way, you would be able to get unique coding combinations that you haven't had before without having to maintain these kind of different templates that you are running there.
And that sounds like it'd be a game changer, because I've seen so many times where, we're using history. How did I code the invoice last time? And that's helpful, but it's not always going to be the same. And a lot of times that gives a false sense of confidence to the user. They're going to go in and just pick what they used last time, even though it's wrong. And then AP has to go back and clean it up on the back end, which becomes its own process. So the idea of being able to do that on a code by code basis and, come up with those unique strings is something that I haven't really seen presented in the market before. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and like you said, right, this whole accuracy and the confidence is a key element. So this is something that needs to be a journey between the machine and the human, right? So you need to guide the user to take an action, and that action could be, this coding looks okay because the confidence is really high, or okay, I got a proposal, but I'm not sure. And as long as you can get the user on board with that one, you can make sure that they make the required adjustments and actually start training the AI, so you get better and better, and in the end of the day you will get more accurate coding among all of your invoices, which is then of course really good for all your spent information that you want to have downstream.
Absolutely. What's the customer feedback been on this? Have you rolled it out to some of the customers? What's their reaction been?
Yeah, they have been really enthusiastic, and that's mainly because we are presenting this in a different way. Because we have a model and we have the data, because we are processing these invoices in our system already. So we came up with a value-based introduction basically to the smart coding, where we did a simulation. We put your invoices through our model, and this is what you can expect. So it's very easy to show the customers that, hey, with your data, if you would start today, you would get 80% accuracy. And from there, you can then build up and start the actual journey, because like I said, this is really a data journey that we are initializing, because many customers don't have a full overview of what is really happening on the coding dimensions, on the chart of accounts that they are running. And there's a wide variety of possibilities there, which are one of the root causes for getting incorrect coding and troubles for AP going forward. And I had kind of a really nice example the other week when I had such a discussion with a customer, and we noticed that they had an invoice dimension where they had over 14,000 different options that the user could pick from, and they processed hardly 1,000 invoices that required that actual dimension. So no wonder that their users were always struggling with finding the right dimension, because it was just overwhelming that how many do I need? But they just didn't know. So part of this whole exercise is, what can I do to improve? Should I remove dimensions I'm no longer utilizing? And these kind of things to help everybody in the end of the day getting better accuracy.
That's interesting. And Olav, I know smart coding has been around for a while in a couple different versions. How has it evolved? What was it a few years ago? Where are we today? Where do you see it going in the future?
Yeah, we started a few years back to really have it for a specific user. So we really thought that, okay, let's help out, for example, you. If you would get an invoice, what would you do? What would be your circumstances? And that worked. But then we saw that your workforce isn't static. So especially with this whole global recognition wave ongoing, people come and go all the time. So how do we make sure that knowledge that we gathered from a specific user is moving with the company, at least, that the next person doesn't have to start from scratch? So it was becoming very clear that this needs to be a global service. This needs to be for the full organization. So it cannot be for an individual. And this is how we started the next version, or the version where we are now at, that, hey, now it doesn't matter who is actually responsible for the coding, because we're just taking all of the invoices and how you will be processing. Of course, the organization's dimensions are very much important in there, because you could have country specific dimensions and these kind of things. But it's not only the user's own invoices, it's now the whole invoice set where the training is coming from. So it's one size really fits all for a company.
Okay. And one of the things we talked about when we were having our conversation on invoice ingestion was AI takes a lot of data to learn from. The bigger data set, the better you're going to get on results. How does that play into smart coding? I know you mentioned sort of 80% up front, based on some of the historical data. What do you recommend to customers? How do they, go through this journey from implementation to really maturing the use of smart coding?
Yeah, so the beauty of all these different kind of services together is that the more data you capture up front, the better it is. But the thing is that you don't have to map out all of your fields any longer towards your dedicated strings, because all of these servers are getting so smart that they know what to look for. So instead of pinpointing specific fields, you just say check message, full message content for a specific value. And it's like with a supplier, and if you give your cost center because you ordered coffee from the cafeteria, they can place it anywhere on an invoice. And it's very hard to map that into your database where the data is going towards these services. So now the system knows, I need a cost center, I know how they look like. Can I find it somewhere for the raw data, even though it isn't given as an output from the initial service? The data is still available for the next service to capture. And like this, you can really get the full benefit out of the electronic data set that we are preparing.
It sounds like it's going faster and faster every day, going from, where we were a couple of years ago to today, to some of the conversations we've had about, where AI is going within accounts payable. It sounds like things are moving pretty quick and you're staying right on top of it.
It definitely moves quick, and this is only the beginning.
Well, Olav, it's been great chatting with you. I appreciate all the conversations we've had, all the knowledge you've given us around using artificial intelligence in accounts payable. With how fast things are going, we're going to have to get together again pretty soon and go through all the new things that Basware is doing with AI and all the ways we're helping to automate accounts payable.
I'm happy to have the next session.
Great. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.